Welcome to Chapter 4 of the Adquio Cloud course. Today we are going to see how to create a SCADA. Let's go there. As always, to enter, we will go to adquio.com and the option Cloud. Client access, and as always, we arrive at our work area. In the previous two chapters, we have created both graphs and sample tables at the client level. We had said that, if we create graphs or tables at the client level, these could show data from any of the facilities that we had available for this client. In this way, we could compare data from different facilities, etc. In this case, as we are going to do a SCADA, what does not make sense is that we do a SCADA that controls several facilities, because normally, it is a plan of a room, and on it the controls. So, in order to make an example of a SCADA, we are going to enter a facility. And now, we already have SCADAs here. As always, we have this empty, because we have not done any SCADA yet. Then, we will give the dots, new SCADA. Let's use the example for training, temperature control offices, for example, to use our probes. Now, we must upload a plan. This file must be in SVG format to be scalable, and not lose quality. SVG is a vector format. We are then going to select a file, and as always, we can put labels on it to classify the, say, graphics. As this SCADA is going to be about climate, we are going to put climate on it. We give it to create SCADA, and in the lower part it already loads us the plan. Let's scroll down a little bit to see it in full. Here it is. And now, to start putting elements on the map, we simply double-click and it will ask us, because for example, we are going to put the name of this marker here, or of this element, ambient temperature. We are going to create the bookmark. And well, the first thing he asks us, if it is a link to another page, because we could be putting a button, if our SCADA is made up of more than one page. Imagine, for example, that we have a first screen within the SCADA that shows us the floors of a building, and that we put a button on each floor to go to the SCADA of that floor, because with this, we would go to each of those pages, right? Since this is not the case, we are going to add a monitor. We call each of the elements monitor, which can be included in each marker, and we are going to tell you what type it is, because they are specialized. So, we are going to say that it is a temperature monitor, and since it is a temperature monitor, it automatically opens up all the possibilities we have for temperature, whether it is a room temperature, which is a set temperature, which is a temperature of set point, but that we can change it from here, that it is the flow temperature, or that it is the return temperature. Here, if these were not enough, more options could be added, right? If you do not find the temperature that is necessary for your sector. Very well, then what is room temperature like? We are going to select one of our variables, PTO1, and we are going to put what is shown in the marker. It is possible that we want to make markers that is in the plane, but that, for example, they show a value, and if we click it, it will show us 3 or 4 related values. In this case, to do the test, we are going to tell you that, if you show it to us on the scoreboard, and we are not going to put anything else on it. We are going to save it. We already see here that 33.8 sets the environment for us, and if we leave, we will see that we already have here the marker for the ambient temperature of this area. We are going to focus it a bit on its premises. For this, we are going to click on this icon, and simply by clicking on it, we will center it, right? Very well, then we are going to add the 4 temperature probes that we have for our example, in the different areas of these premises. Let's, for example, to add one more here, we call it the same. We add a temperature monitor. And it will be room temperature PTO2, which shows it to us. We save. We put it outside. We are going to create one more here. The same. Show in the marker, because we want it to be seen. We save changes, we click outside, we have it. And now, are we going to add one that allows us to act, right? For example, let's move this a little here, let's put one here, for example, to control the lighting. We add a monitor that is going to be lighting. and we are going to tell it that it is for example the digital output O1, both in the read variable, that will activate and deactivate the icon, and in the write variable that we want to show in the marker. We have our marker here. We see that the light is on. If we want to change it, we click it and the light is off, right? Remember that we are acting on an Adquio that is really connected, and we could be seeing how this light turns on and off. Let's focus a little on this too. For example there, we are going to put a marker with more than one element, for example here or here, so you can see how it works. Let's call it various monitors. Then, we are going to add a monitor, what the temperature is going to be, and we are going to select, for example the temperature of the CPU. We are going to monitor a server. Let's call it then Adquio values, right? CPU temperature, we want it to display it on the monitor. We save. We already have one. We add another. We are going to add a second. This can be consumption, voltage, intensity, power, etc. We are going to select, for example in this case, consumption, and we are going to select CPU usage. We are going to ask him to show it to us. We save changes, and we already have two. We are going to go out to see it, and you see that we already have several monitors, and that we have 64 degrees and 14 or 15% CPU usage in this case. So, this is how we can put monitors on the map, and by simply clicking them, we are going to turn on this light, which is off. It is on. We turn it off. It is off. We are going to review the icons that we have that allow us to act on the map. The first is to modify. You know that if we click on an element we can modify the marker, delete it, change its name, etc. The second is to move, and it is used for two things. The first to drag and move a marker, and the second, if we click on it, we can make it change from horizontal to vertical. We can rotate through the different types. The one I like the most, in this case, was the one we had at the beginning. After this, we have here at the bottom some plus and symbols that allow us to zoom in or out. And we have these little arrows, which if we don't want to do it with the mouse, allow us to move the plane up and down, and sideways. In the case that we had a large zoom, we could move up, down to one side and to the other, right? We will continue to see all the rest of the icons. With this icon, the cursor where we click now will delete the object. It will ask us for confirmation before we will not do it. And this icon, which allows us to change the magnification level of the objects, as you can see, I can enlarge them a lot, I can reduce them a lot, or I can try to leave them at a convenient value so that they are read correctly. It remains for us to see in detail, a marker that I mentioned, what would be the one that links several SCADAs, and allows us to jump from one to another. In this case, I mentioned to you before, that the link of the page to which we want to jump was put here, right? Today, we will not be able to see it yet, because we have not seen the pages yet. It is the next chapter of these courses, so tomorrow when we see the pages, we will return here. I will teach you how to link different SCADAs that are already located on different pages, right? So, for today we are finished, and see you in the next chapter, in which we will learn to assemble pages, both with SCADAs, as well as with graphics, as well as with data tables.